Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, my two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, and our tuxedo kitty, Lilu. They're Ron's daughters too. They're not just my daughters. Yeah. Anyway, if you are looking for me, you can find me on Ravelry as Cristi-Lael and on Instagram as Cristi-Lael without the dash. I also have a Relatively Crafty Podcast group on Ravelry, which isn't being used very much at the moment, unfortunately. I literally used to be that Ravelry was open, it was an open window on my computer from when I woke up until I went to bed. However, since I am spending much of that time now at work and can't do that at work on my work computer, I'm not spending much time on Ravelry. So the podcast group is kind of just laying low right now. I apologize for that. But there is one there. And we do have giveaways periodically and knit-alongs. We're taking a break from the knit-alongs right now while I'm still trying to work out an even equilibrium balance for my life and work and whatnot. But I will have a giveaway going on in there as soon as this video goes up, because I have some stuff that was donated for a giveaway. So there will be at least that. And if you're looking for spellings or anything for that, that's all down below. I do all links for everything down below, and spell my name because I spell it kind of interestingly. So yeah, anyway, there we go. It is August 5th, Sunday, August 5th. I have not podcasted in quite a long time. So before I started working full-time, I podcasted every Tuesday, like clockwork. I would podcast early on in the day and then edit it before I went to knit night, and then I would have it upload while I was at knit night. And then I started working part-time, including working on Tuesdays, but I had Wednesday off, and so I started podcasting on Wednesdays, and again, I would do it very, very regularly. However, working full-time now, I work Monday through Friday, basic, 9 to 5 type of a job, and it does make things harder. I don't have as much time off, to myself, and when I get home from work, I'm having to do talking with my kids who have, spent all day without me, and then dealing with dinner and that kind of thing, family time. And so I don't have as much time to physically, to podcast, but I also don't have as much time to knit. And so it took me a while before I kind of embraced the idea that I didn't have to do it on a specific day at a specific time, that I could be like some of the other knitting podcasters who just podcast periodically when they have the time and they have enough stuff to show. And I really just had an epiphany about that, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago. I was watching Amber, the Yarn Hoarder's most recent podcast, and I was like, you know what, she doesn't ever have a set podcast time. She just podcasts when she has the time and when she has the stuff to show. And so I think that's what I'm going to try to do. So I have several sock FOs and another non-sock FO to show you guys. And a little bit of a yarn haul, very, very little bit of yarn haul. And yeah, so I figured we could go ahead and talk about those things if you would enjoy that. If you wouldn't enjoy that, then please feel free to say goodbye. So let's go ahead and get into the FOs. As I said, I have several sock FOs to show you. So I will start with those. I am pretty sure that I podcasted last in July. So it's been maybe a month, but not more than a month since I podcasted last. So, but I don't think that I had my July box of socks done when I podcast. For for my last podcast. I think that I was still in the middle of them, so I will show you those first. I am super duper in love with these. If you recall, I am doing all of my box of socks this year out of Knitterly Things Vesper sock. I had quite a lot of it in my stash, partly because I am such a huge fan of her dye work and base, and partly because I was part of her Rainbow of the Month club last year. So I got 12 new skeins, and even after I finish my box of socks this year, I will still have a decent amount in my stash. I just really like her colorways. June's colorway that I picked was Boardwalk Games, which was not a Rainbow of the Month last year, but was one that I fell in love with the minute I saw it, and I knew I needed it for socks, and I am so glad that I got it, because look at these socks, guys. Aren't those gorgeous? Oh my goodness. I absolutely love this colorway. This chartreusey green kills me every single time, and then this orange is so in your face, you know, high alert orange. It's just awesome. So I knit these using my regular recipe, you know, Turkish toe cast on. I did a true afterthought heel, and then 1x1 ribbing with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. I did my ribbing a little bit higher this time. I normally go through 3 of Knitterly Things colors, 3 stripes before I start the bind off, but this time I did 4. I don't know why, but that's what I did. So yeah, so these are done. That's June. And then I can show you July. July, I did use a former Rainbow of the Month. I'd say 3/4 of the colorways that I've picked out for this year's box of socks are from the Rainbow of the Month club last year, and I'm trying to coordinate the months that the month, how do I say it? Make it make sense. So July, I picked July's Rainbow of the Month from last year.
I like the different blues.
Yeah, it's pretty. So this, so July's socks, my July box of socks were July's Rainbow of the Month color for last year, and I guess for this year as well, because I think she redid the club and is, I believe she's doing all the same colorways. So yeah. Anyway, the colorway was called Prisma, and it is also very gorgeous. I love these Rainbow of the Month because she follows the rainbow, but just in a non-traditional way. You know, you have the pink to represent the red, orange, yellow, green. There's 2 blues and a purple, so you could like have like an indigo type. Yeah, it's artistic license, so it doesn't really follow the rainbow pattern exactly, but it's artistically following, if that makes sense. And again, I did a Turkish toe cast on, true afterthought heel, 1x1 ribbing, Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, and I think that these are minis that I got at my local yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial. They have lots of minis from all different kinds of indie dyers, and I think that these are Gobstopper balls from Knitted Wit for both the gray and, yeah, I don't think that these are little Lolos that I used for my Hippo for the Holiday socks. But I could be wrong. It's entirely possible. In fact, I'd even say it's maybe even probable. And I had planned on showing you guys after June socks were done my box of socks, because that would have been halfway through the year. However, I didn't manage to podcast in time, and so I have my box of socks here, and I hope that you will forgive me for having 7 socks in here instead of 6. But I thought it would be good to do kind of a mid-year show and tell of the box of socks. So this is the box that I got, and it's very Christmassy, I realize. I got it from Michael's, Joann's. And I think it's meant to hold like a Christmas present, but I liked it because of the fox, and it's my box of socks, so it's my fox box of socks. And here are the socks that I have finished so far this year. So January, let's see. January's here, and that was Lovely Lollipop Sky, which was a colorway that I'd had in my stash for a long time. Was not a Rainbow of the Month colorway. This one was not a Rainbow of the Month colorway either. This was Lightning in a Bottle, which is one I bought last year. Absolutely fell in love with. Couldn't go without it. This one was March's Rainbow of the Month. This was Rainbows After Rain. This one was not a Rainbow of the Month. This was Spring Ahead. This one was, it was Time and Tide, and then Boardwalk Games that I just showed you, and Prisma. So that is 7 rainbows for my box of socks for July, or for 2018. And it's August, so I'm going to start my August colorway for my box of socks, and this is also a Rainbow of the Month from last year, and it is this one. Ooh, that's way blown out, sorry, and it didn't wind very well. This is Misty Mountain Rainbow. It's a more muted color, and there's some speckles in there, so I'm interested to see how this turns out. And that is the August Rainbow of the Month colorway. And then I did finish one more pair of socks. I just finished them yesterday. This is my July Hippo of the Month colorway. So along with the box of socks out of Knitterly Things Vesper sock, I am doing the Hippo for the holidays again this year. I did it last year with Lolo Did It's yarn. It's Lauren at Lolo Did It's Knit Along. It's something that she runs, and I did it last year. Wasn't going to do it this year, but she came out with new colorways, and I was like, oh man, I can't not. And since last year, I had knit several of the... I've got a munchkin sitting next to me if you hadn't noticed. Since last year, I'd knit several of the colorways into other things. I made a cowl and a couple of hats and a shawl. I figured that this year I would make all socks because I really like the Hippo socks with coordinating heels and toes. So this month's, or July's rather, was Hippo for Dad, and I used Bourbon for the heels and toes. And that's just a little Lolo that I got. Lauren does a great thing on her website. She shows pictures of her tonals that coordinate with the Hippo colorway so that you can pick which one you want to go, and you know how well it's going to look next to it. So I got Bourbon this time because there's just enough of these little orangey tan bits that go really well. And I did these just like I did my box of socks, except for instead of an Afterthought heel, I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. So yeah, Turkish toe cast on, Fish Lips Kiss heel, 1x1 ribbing, Jenny surprisingly stretchy bind off. And that puts me ready for August's Hippo of the holiday, Hippos for the holiday. And I was a little bit concerned because she hadn't put out a Hippo for the holiday for a while. I think Hippo for Independence 2018 was the most recent one that she had released, and that one wasn't any different than 2017, and I had made that colorway into socks for 2017, so I wasn't going to knit them again. but her sister is due with a baby, and so she's putting out a whole Hippo for Baby line in different color groups, and so I have some to show you for my yarn haul, but I decided to go ahead and pick out the Helping Hippos colorway for my August socks. These are the ones where she dyed a special colorway with the proceeds going to one of the hurricanes last year. And so I knit that up, and because it has all of the colors in it, I've decided to match it with this gray, which is a little low in I don't know, and it's missing its tag, but it's one of her colorways. So yeah, that'll be the socks that I'm going to make for August, and I haven't gotten them started yet, but I am planning on doing that really soon. I got stuck. I had to take Delaney to a doctor's appointment this past Friday, and had just, I don't know, 5 or 6 rows left of ribbing on this, and it was a 4-hour appointment, so I knew that I was going to need more than 6 rows of ribbing, so I grabbed something else to work on because I didn't have any of the socks for August, any of the skeins wound up. So yeah, I'm finishing those socks instead. And then my final FO, I don't actually have with me, but if you watched my last podcast, then you might remember that I did a sample knit for Nicole at Hue Loco. She'd asked me to knit a shawl for her autumn line of colorways, and I knit it very fast. Well, not as fast as the last one, but she needed it ASAP, and so I knit it in just about 2 weeks. And I had to ship it to her, so she's got it. She's had it actually for a little while, but thankfully she was able to post a picture of it on Instagram just recently, so I will post that right here. The pattern was Brioche Alicious. No, I'm sorry, Brioche Aluscious. Not to be confused with Brioche Alicious, which is a different pattern, both by Andrea Mowry. And I knit it in the Cinnamon, Apricot is my jam, Wood Violet, and Ember colorways. Now the pattern itself calls for 5 colorways, I believe. We knitted in 4. That is what Nicole wanted, and I think it turned out beautifully. And it meant that I used up most of all 4 of the skeins. I don't think that I would have if I had used 5 colorways. But it turned out beautifully, and it was really enjoyable to knit. So I am definitely thinking about knitting another one for myself sometime. It was so much fun. Lots of brioche. It would be great to match up some colors. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to making another one, which is unusual for me. Normally I'm like, well, maybe one day, but while I was knitting it, I was like, you know what, I would like to have one of these for myself. This is fun. So yeah, I just got to pick out the right 5 colors, and I know that it will take me a lot longer to knit mine than it did for me to knit hers, because I won't have the pressure of a deadline for myself. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe sometime when there's like a lull at work or a vacation or something like that, it'd be good to take on a vacation. So yeah, so that is all that I have finished since we last spoke. So we'll go ahead and get into whips, and I only have one whip to show you. I have not made any progress on the sweater. I'm knitting the Blue Sands cardigan, and I've taken it to knit night once, I think, since we last spoke. I worked on Nicole's shawl a lot, and then when I finished that, I've just been working on socks, trying to catch up on everything. So I don't have anything to show you on that, but I did, as I mentioned, I had to take Delaney to the doctor on Friday, and it was a 4-hour muscle clinic appointment. It was a 4-hour muscle clinic appointment, so she goes and she sees several different specialties all at once. So it's a long day, but it is a great service that they provide because it allows you to just stay in one place and all of the different doctors come to you. And not only do you get it all knocked out in one day and they're all there talking to you and you don't have to go to them, but they talk to each other. So you don't have to worry about, you know, your neurology doctor giving you conflicting prescriptions or information that your pulmonary doctor doesn't want you to have, type thing. So she sees neurology and it's more than just doctors. So she sees a neurologist and a geneticist and physical therapy and kind of like the doctor that makes sure that all the other doctors are doing what you need them to do when seeing if you eat like a hospitalist, I guess. Although she's not inpatient. And social services, did I say that? And physical therapy. Yeah, and if she had any other needs, then she would see those other doctors there. Cardiology, pulmonology, infectious disease. I mean, I don't know. Everything that you could kind of need is right there. But it was a long appointment, and so I went ahead and grabbed what I had close. I don't know if you guys recall, but a couple of months ago I hauled from a yarn swap that I had done with Heather of Woolly Elephant. She's the mother of the Woolly Elephant mother-daughter duo, and we swapped some yarn. So I sent some yarn to her in UK. She sent me some here in the United States, and it was great because we were able to swap some leftovers. So she had sent me these two gorgeous partials from Stranded Dye Works. And these are both, I believe, in the Paradise base. Which is her MCN. This is Koi, which I have a full skein of, but I didn't at the time. I wasn't able to get it on the updates, and so Heather sent me her leftovers from a pair of socks, and this is Nougat. So yeah, and so there was about 50 grams or so. I don't know that I actually weighed it, but it was about a half a skein. And I figured it would be fun to knit coordinating socks. So each one of these is one sock, but I'm using the other for the heels and toes, if that makes sense. So I guess I can show you and not have to try to explain it awkwardly. So here is one sock. So I use the Nougat for the toe, and I will use it for the heel, and then I'm using the Koi for the body of the sock. And then sock number 2, I used the Koi for the toe, and then I will for the heels. And I'm using the Nougat for the body of the sock. And so I will have, two full-sized socks that don't exactly match, but they coordinate nicely. And I think they're going to be cute together. So I am just about ready for the heel on this sock. I am, I don't know, an inch or so shy. Oh, maybe 2 inches. Yeah, maybe about 2 inches shy of the heel on this sock. And once I turn the heels, I'll put a Fish Lips Kiss heel in. Then they will be ready to go for the legs, and I will just kind of knit until it is long enough, or until I run out of yarn. It depends. Whichever happens first, I guess. And that's it. I haven't been working on anything else. And yeah, so that's all I got to show you on the needles. I do have a little bit of yarn haul, but as I said, it's not very much. I haven't been buying a lot of yarn. And I think that's honestly just simply because I haven't been knitting a lot, and I haven't been able to watch a lot of podcasts. So I'm not consuming my yarn as fast as I have been in the past, and I'm not being tempted quite as much because I'm not watching as many podcasts right now, although I do want to get back into that. I'm just trying to work it out. And I also am not spending as much time on Instagram, so I'm not seeing as much. But I did get some things. There was a trunk show at my local yarn shop the other week, and it was Alexandra's Crafts, which she does just beautiful work. So I got this gradient that I'm super excited about. I'm not sure what I'm going to make out of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it into a pair of socks or if I'm going to use it for a shawl or something like that, but I'm very keen on it. I love rainbow, you know me. And then she also does this style of dye, and you know that I love these, where they have, you know, kind of like a variegated bit right here that kind of dashes through a sock. And I hadn't seen one in this lovely purple. This is her Dark Side of the Moon line, and I think the colorway is called Purple Haze. Yeah, and I liked it. So I got it. I'm sweating. I'm sorry, guys. It's hot, and I have to turn the fan off because the noise. So, yeah, I'm sorry if I am getting shiny. And then the last thing that I purchased for myself was the hippo for the holidays that I was referring to earlier. This is her hippo for baby yellow colorway. So it's got just some bright yellows and some nice mustard and kind of almost brown yellow, and I'm in love. I also ordered the orange one as well. I think there's going to be 8 total, and I am trying to remind myself that I don't need all 8. I don't actually need all 8. I'm just getting the ones that I really like. The yellow and the orange really spoke to me, surprisingly, right? And then I signed up to do a product review. So you will actually see this yarn that I'm about to show you knit up pretty quickly. I'm going to make it into a shawl, but Zen Yarn Garden decided to do a product review, or asked some podcasters to do a product review of their Serenity 20 line in these kind of interesting pairings, I guess. This is the Vivid pairing, and they're not meant to really match exactly, but they're to coordinate. So I got Scallions, which is this lovely kind of lettuce green, and then along with that I got Vivid, which is one of their splatter colorways. So you got a tonal and a splatter, which, you know, kind of speckled. And then this one-of-a-kind colorway. So yeah, I'm really excited about what I can make with this. I need to definitely want it to be a shawl. I've got to pick the right pattern, but I'm super excited about it. And this is an MCN. This is a 70-20-10 MCN blend. So it is 70% merino. Let's do this one. This one shows up better. My light is a little bit too bright today. 70% merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So it is definitely like butter. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be great. If you have any ideas for a perfect pattern, let me know. It's something that I need to get started here pretty soon. I think I have to do the review in November. So you'll see me talk about this and my feel about the yarn, about the colorways, and yeah, it'll be fun. And then lastly, for Yarn Haul, I have something that I get to haul for myself and then I give away for y'all. I was contacted by Tia of Tia's Terrific Threads on Etsy. She sent me a message over Instagram, and she asked if I would be willing to do a giveaway for her yarn, because she just started getting into, she'd been dyeing and making progress creepers for a while, but she was getting into doing self-striping, and she wanted to kind of share that with everybody. And of course, I am always willing to help promote indie dyers and indie makers, indie bag makers and indie progress keeper makers, and basically anybody who's, you know, trying to help support themselves by making things. I want to help to support them as well. So so I told her yes, and she sent me an amazingly generous package. Much too generous, honestly. I expected, you know, a skein and, you know, maybe some progress keepers to give away, but there was a lot in this seemingly never-ending box of goodies. So first, let's talk about this. This was the first thing that I saw, and it was this bag. And she didn't make the bag. The bag is made by, I don't know who the bag is made by. It doesn't have a tag. But she knows me so well because it's foxes. It's foxes in clothes, and it's beautiful colors, and yeah, I'm just absolutely in love with this drawstring bag. It's red and white polka dots on the inside. It's just absolutely perfect. So there's that, and then she sent along 2 skeins of her beautiful self-striping yarn, which she does in the gobstopper balls, which is always fun. I love gobstopper balls. The one that I get to keep is this one. Maybe if This is Tie-Dye Dragon. Her base is Simple Sock. It's 75% merino, 20, yeah, that's math, 25% nylon. I'm tired, guys. And 463 yards. Look at this colorway. It's so 70s awesome. I'm so in love with it. So this one is mine. Hands off, you can't have it. But she sent a skein and a half to share with you guys. So we have this full skein, the same base. The yarn, the colorway is called Swimming Pool. It's got some great blues and greens, some brown and yellow in there. Really, really pretty colorway. And then there is also a half skein in plastic flowers. So this is 230 yards. And I am going to have to do some research and see if she's going to be doing this with half skeins, because if she's going to sell half skeins in her shop, I am going to be a big supporter of that, because I often, if I use a coordinating heels and toes, I only need 50 grams for a pair of socks for me. So I'm super excited about that. I'm really hoping that she's going to do that with self-striping, because you can't find that very often with self-stripers. So one lucky winner will win both of these. Plus, there is a little bag filled with goodies that will go along with that. There is, let's see, there's a tea bag, her card, a thank you card with a little flower. Is that a flower? Stop. Yeah, a little flower. Progress keeper, a rose. There are 2 pins, one that says Tia's Terrific Threads. Oh, they both say Tia's Terrific Threads. Oh, there's 3 pins. They all 3 say Tia's Terrific Threads. A Jolly Rancher goodie. You can never have too much sugar. Probably saying that because I'm addicted to sugar, but and then there is a packet of progress keepers. She makes the most adorable progress keepers, and there's 850 million of them on her website. So you've got a little cupcake with sprinkles. There's an apple. There's a donut. There's an ice cream cone. There's a heart-shaped cake. There's an hamburger. There's a Starbucks coffee cup. And, oh, there's 2 more. Another piece of cake and a gingerbread man. So yeah, I'm going to open up the giveaway on the website, on the Ravelry group site. I'm going to open up the giveaway in the Ravelry group. Whew! And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to her shop. I'd like you to, as the prompt, go ahead and look through her shop and tell me the thing that you would order if you could order anything. Because it's not just yarn, as I said. She's got lots of lots of progress keepers on there and stitch markers and whatnot. So be sure to check it all out. And yeah, and I will do a random number generator draw before my next podcast and announce the winner there. So you will get, just to recap, 1.5 skeins of her self-striping gobstopper balls and this bag of goodies. And so she also included a bag of goodies for me, which has basically the same things, although I will say that I did get to kind of request some of the progress keepers because she had this one and I wanted it so very badly. I don't know if you can see that, but it is an Alice in Wonderland book. Little progress keeper. And if you don't know, I collect Alice in Wonderland things, including all the different editions of the book that I can get my hands on. So yeah, I was super duper excited about that. And there are several different other progress keepers on there as well. A little kitty with a yarn ball, another book that says A True Story, a pumpkin, I love fall, a yarn skein, mittens, a snowflake, turn around, snowflake, and my own donut. So yeah, so thank you so much, Tia. This was such an awesome package. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for sharing with my viewers. And yeah, don't forget to enter. I'm not sure exactly when I will podcast next, but it will be, probably won't be before 3 weeks. So make sure that you go ahead and enter before the end of August, I guess. So yeah, I guess I've got to talk about life stuff and books, and then we're done. Whew. Which honestly, I'm not too heartbroken about because it's really hot in here. Sorry. I can't wait for fall. I'm really, really excited about fall. I mean, summer's not too bad here in Colorado, but I miss it being cold, honestly. Okay, so let's talk about reading. I have been listening to a lot on audio, and I've been trying to go through my personal library and listen to things or read things that I know I'm not going to want to keep. I'm trying to make room. There's been a lot of books that have come out in the past 6 months that I've wanted to read and wanted to own, and I don't have any more space on my shelves, so I've been trying to kind of clear out other things. As a result of that, there's been a lot of things that I've read in the past 2 or 3 months that have just been okay. You know, they've not been great, they've not been terrible, but they've just been okay. Then there's been things that I've read that have been terrible, but there hasn't been all that much that has been amazing. However, I have run across a few things. One of them is Nick Hornby. I don't know if you're familiar, but he's written a lot of books that have been turned into movies, like About a Boy, which was a movie, in the late 90s, early 2000s with Hugh Grant. Nick Hornby's, most of his writing is from that time, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. So he's not a new writer. He is an adult writer, so none of these are YA. But yeah, read About a Boy, loved it. Then I watched the movie, loved it even more. Then I read A Long Way Down, which I didn't realize when I was reading it, but is also a movie. So read this, loved it. I think I even loved it more than I did About a Boy, and then watched the movie. And the movie, it's kind of more of like an indie type film. Like, I don't think it got played in the theaters, but it has Pierce Brosnan in it, and Tony Collette, and two other people that I can't remember their names of. One was the younger guy in Breaking Bad, and the other girl I've seen in things, but I can't think of her name. But yeah, this was a great book. I actually think that this is probably my favorite so far. And then another one that I read is Juliet Naked, which is just now coming out in a movie with people. Chris O'Dowd is in it. But yeah, really enjoyed this. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the movie. Another one that he wrote that I haven't yet read is High Fidelity, which was a movie with John Cusack. So yeah, so a lot of his work has been turned into movies, and I have just found that I really enjoy it. He's a writer that I like, kind of like Nick Spalding. I know going into his stuff that I am going to enjoy everything that he writes. And so yeah, really looking forward to reading more of his stuff. I have High Fidelity. I also have Slam on my shelves. I don't think I have any other ones yet, but I am hoping to get some more. And I love these editions because they're colorful. Oh, I threw them on the ground. I threw them at the cat. They're colorful, and they all coincide, or they coordinate, and I like that. So yeah, so those I would recommend, especially if you like to read books that have been adapted. And then two other things that I've read recently that I really was surprised by how much I liked. One of them is Counting by Sevens by Holly Goldberg Sloan. This I shouldn't have been surprised by, because I think it's won some awards. It's been highly talked about on BookTube. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and it's got a really high rating on Goodreads. But I'm kind of weird about middle grade. I really enjoy reading middle grade, but I especially like the ones that are kind of written so that an adult can enjoy them as well. And I wasn't sure if this was one of those, but it really truly is. This was fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. It's heartbreaking, but it was so good. It's kind of like a Frederick Bachman book for a middle grade audience. You have a bunch of characters that kind of don't have anything to do with each other, but as the story goes on, they kind of tie together and they better each other's lives, and yeah, it's just, they have a really strong impact on each other, and I really like those kinds of stories. So I do highly recommend this, and I do feel that any adult could really enjoy this. And then another one that really surprised me was The Walls Around Us by Nova Ren Suma. I had never read her work before, and I thought that this was just going to be kind of like one of those hard-hitting YA novels where somebody gets raped or killed, or their sister gets killed in a car accident or something like that, and then they have to learn how to move on with their life. That is a very common trope in YA. And I will cop to the fact that I did not read the synopsis to this book before I read it, and then I mostly bought it because I had seen it on BookTube and I liked the cover. But this was a really good kind of paranormal mystery thriller. It was kind of a creepy book. Let's just put it that way. And I really liked it. I got, I don't know, 50 pages or so into the audiobook, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm really enjoying this, and I just thoroughly loved the rest of the book. So much so that I ended up looking for the rest of her books. She's written 4 or 5 other novels. I found them on thrift books and bought them used, and I have them all on my shelf ready for me to read soon. I really, really loved it. And tell me that isn't a beautiful cover. Come on, that's a totally beautiful cover. So yeah, so those are the things that I have read recently that I've loved. Another thing that I am kind of excited about, although I haven't read it recently, but I grew up reading lots of sci-fi and fantasy. And so I read a lot of Robert Asprin, and I read Tolkien, and Madeline L'Engle. I'm trying to think of what else I read. Just that kind of thing. I just liked fantastic stories. Oh, Douglas Adams. Love Douglas Adams. And I'm also a big fan of Terry Pratchett. And I love the Discworld series. I haven't read all of it yet, but I've read a decent amount. And I have most of the series in mass market paperbacks, but I don't like mass market paperbacks. I haven't been able to get rid of them because I don't want to not have them in case I have a hankering to read one of the books, but I'm just not a big fan of mass market paperbacks. They're too small. They're not, if they're too thick of a book, then you break the spine so much trying to read it. I'm just not a big fan of it. But I've never really found any of the other covers that I really wanted to purchase until now. I've discovered that they are, I guess, re-releasing all of Terry Pratchett's books in these beautiful hardback editions, and I've decided that I'm going to buy all of them. Here is Mort. Mort is one of the Discworld books. It's like, I don't know, book 11 or something like that. But if you're not familiar with Discworld, it's like a 35, 40 book series, but it's broken up into kind of these mini-series. And Mort is the first of the Death collection. And the Death collection is my favorite. So this is how they are out now. And look at how beautiful these are. They got some foil in them, so they make them a little bit shiny. And they're nice hardback. They're a nice size. They're smaller than regular hardback books, but not obsessively small. I'm really, really, not obsessively, excessively small. Really, really keen on them. Really, really keen on them. And so I've picked up Mort, and I also picked up Reaper Man, which is another one in the Death series, or Death collection. I think it's 1 and 2. And I've read the entire Death collection, so definitely knew I wanted to have these, if nothing else. But when they came, I was like, oh my goodness, I need all of these. So if you're a fan of the Discworld series and have been looking for an excuse to buy all of them, then I would recommend these. I have only found these on Book Depository, which is it's an online shop based in the UK. It has free worldwide shipping. And these are really fairly priced. Depending on which one it is and how long ago it was released, you can get them for $10 to $15. So, yeah. Love those. Okay, so that's all that I have to talk about books. Let's talk a little bit about life. Work is going well. I really, really, really like my job, and I really like the company that I'm working for. I really feel blessed that this is where I ended up. That being said, I'm still trying to find a balance. When I get home from work, I don't really want to do anything else but just kind of veg. And things are going by the wayside, which is bad. You know, housework is not getting done. I still haven't taken the final 2 tests that I need to take for my degree. Things are just, you know, getting shoved aside for later. And it doesn't help that my parents, who are retired, they end up spending a lot of the week at home, just kind of hanging out, and then they want to go out with us on the weekends, which has been great fun. We went to see the Royal Gorge Bridge 2 weeks ago, or I guess last weekend, and that was great fun. And then we also just yesterday went to the Douglas County Fair, which was a lot of fun too. Small, not anything close to the LA County Fair, but still fun, enjoyable. The girls got to see yarn, or not yarn, yarn on the brain. They got to see animals, some yarn producing animals, sheep and whatnot. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And there was a whole, they have, county fairs have competitions for the best knit thing, the best crocheted thing, the best baked thing, the best quilted thing, and they had a whole wall of quilts that were gorgeous. My mom, who was a quilter, had so much fun with that. And yeah, and it kind of prompted me to maybe think about maybe entering a couple of knitted things for next year for my county fair. I don't live in Douglas County, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been great to have my parents around. They've been taking the kids for a couple of days here and there. Ron and I have been able to, kind of hang out with just us a little bit, which is really nice. We're trying to come up with something to do for our anniversary, which is next month. It'll be our 20th anniversary. I can't believe I'm old enough to have been married for 20 years. We want to go away for the weekend, but we haven't quite figured out exactly what we want to do yet. It's got to be something close enough that we can drive to enjoy the weekend, but and not cost us $350 million. And the kids go back to school very soon, which I'm kind of looking forward to because they've spent entirely too much time watching TV and playing video games over the past 11 weeks. But yeah, it's been a nice summer. As I said, I'm ready for the weather to cool down, and I'm ready for fall to be here and for us to need sweaters again. And I haven't worn any of my knitted socks in forever because it's just been warm. And yeah, but even if it's been hot here, it's not been as hot as it was back home. They've been getting a lot of triple degree weather this summer, and I do not miss any of that at all. So I guess that's it, guys. I am going to wrap this up now because I really need to turn my fan back on. And I need to clean up my mess, and I need to go to the grocery store because that is what I do on Sundays. We have no food. So I hope to get this edited quickly and posted. I'd love to do it today. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it today, but hopefully soon. And then, yeah, and hopefully soon I can get back into watching my own knitting podcasts. I think it's because I normally have like 15 minutes at a time to watch, and I just, no podcasts are that short, but yeah, I need to get back into it. I miss all my knitting friends. I feel very disconnected from the knitting world lately. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I got. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever day this happens to be, and happy knitting. I'll talk to you later. Bye.